Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our Future and Faith conversation series. Today, you'll be hearing from 3 of our own spiritual entrepreneurs who have either gone through our certificate in spiritual entrepreneurship or are currently going through it. And we are so happy and pleased to start out this conversation with Ryan Pryor. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Ryan graduated from our course that started last April, and he is pastoring a church in Mission Hills, called Mission Hills, actually. And we're just so grateful that you could join us this morning to chat a little bit with us about some of the stuff that you're doing and how spiritual entrepreneurship sort of fits into that. I think you're a really great example of someone who is doing innovative and entrepreneurial work before you probably even knew the term of spiritual entrepreneurship, perhaps. Can you tell us a little bit about, your experience with spiritual innovation?
From the sort of like operational side of things, or from my
both. Obviously, you were kind of brought to this place, by your own kind of philosophical and theological journey towards it.
Right.
That sort of filters down into how you do church, how you do spirituality, and how you're engaging all of this stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, for my journey at Mission Hills has been really interesting because I feel like my background, both academically and then just my background personally, has really kind of merged into my interests here. And sort of Mission Hills is in a community in Los Angeles. We're in the North Valley, and it was basically a replant a little over 2 years ago. And so just basically starting from scratch and having to really figure things out on the job. So you both have the sort of spiritual innovation of, okay, well, what do people in the 21st century really need spiritually? What do people in this neighborhood need? We're in a residential neighborhood in the North Valley, so really like assessing the needs of the neighborhood and the community was something that was really important to me. And then just thinking broader, because I've always been really fascinated with where is Christianity broadly going to go in the U.S. In my lifetime, what will Christianity look like? And so that's always been a really interesting question to me. Somebody that was really influential to me when I was in high school, getting me thinking about these types of things, was Brian McLaren and Phyllis Tickle, and really thinking broadly about, okay, this spirituality that we find ourselves in the Christian tradition is really undergoing a massive shift right now. And that was really exciting to kind of explore that in my 20s. I'm 31 now, so I'm very much older and wiser, but so thinking about that was really exciting as far as what I was interested in academically. And then when I came to Mission Hills a couple of years ago, it really put that type of thinking into practice. What is this really going to look like in real people's lives, with kids and jobs, and with people that are retired or just not interested in religion? They don't even have a framework for being involved in Christianity or religion. This is not interesting. So how does spirituality affect people's lives in a positive way for all of these different types of people that are interested and people that are uninterested, people that just want to make a difference in their community? And my question was, can you create an environment where all of these things can exist simultaneously? So I feel like that's been my journey of just trying this. Okay, that works, or that doesn't really work, and then trying something else and trying to figure out where those needs are.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing. I feel like we can be done after that, but we'll go for a little bit longer here. So,
whenever you guys in the course talk about MVB, right? Minimal viable benefit. It's a term that the course brings up in my consciousness that I hadn't thought about. What we were doing at Mission Hills, or trying to create, was that, right? You're trying to create these minimal viable benefits in a lot of different ways. Okay, we're gonna try this. We see a need, all right, and we're just going to try to see if we can strike a chord with what's going on in the community, what's going on in the city. Because that's another thing. Since we are in the greater Los Angeles area, we're Los Angeles County, we're really accessible. What we found is that there are so many people that are all over the city that are really interested in this sort of emerging spirituality, radical theology, all the conversations that are kind of existing on the fringes of Christianity right now. And so what we found is people from any direction from Mission Hills are kind of coming to Mission Hills because they're longing to have those kinds of conversations, or to find communities of people that are also interested in that sort of shared story and language, or just figuring it out. So there's just like a lot of really fun things that we found ourselves kind of doing in the last couple of years. It's been fun to see.
The benefit to the church, as you're explaining it, just seems very valuable. But then also people who are ready to take this course, they're pretty busy. They're doing a lot of things. How about for you personally? What, as you're kind of weighing out, I could do this, or this costs this much, or this much. How did you make this decision, and what would you see as the value of a course like this personally?
So the time commitment is really not that pressing. So I think that this course in a good way can be challenging, but it also allows any person, no matter if you're working full time or doing ministry, or really whatever you're doing, or have kids and family, that you can read when you can read. And the reading is not like, it's there. It's not too it's not so much reading that you just shouldn't do the course for that. And then as far as the lectures go, you have access to lectures, when you need them. It's always nice to be able to make it to the live streams. But, even for me, I wasn't able to make a lot of the in-person live conversations just because I was, doing ministry and whatever during the day. So being able to just come back and watch those at night, and then, do the work when I could, it was really pretty easy. As far as deciding to do the course, for me, it's always interesting to find like-minded individuals all across the country, all over the world, that are trying to experiment in some of these same ways. So I think a lot of the benefit to Hatchery's course is the fact that you can have these conversations, learn, because it is a spark, right? Like your Hatchery in this course is hitting on a variety of things that you'll find useful, right? And they're trying to give you a survey of a lot of things that are going to get your mind going in whatever context you're in. So there will be weeks where you resonate with something more, and there will be weeks where you think, that doesn't as much apply to me, but it maybe gets me thinking about something else that I can do. So as far as taking this course, it's just an amazing survey of things that you can almost immediately put into practice. And so for me, that was something that, knowing you guys in Barrie, that I knew coming into the course that I would find. So yeah, that was also a big thing for me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for saying all that. So what would you say, like, just in terms of encouragement for the journey ahead? I mean, you just kind of encouraged on the logistical side of things, but, as people are wrestling with some of this stuff on how to stay relevant in terms of ministry, in terms of Christianity, you said you've been thinking about this since your 20s. Like, what's some of the encouragement you would give to, young pastors, or maybe even pastors who've been in ministry for 20 or 30 years, who realize that they're in the middle of transition that they are just completely unsure of themselves in, or people coming out of seminary who feel, I got a really good education, but I'm not sure I have some of the practical tools to move forward, in the times and kind of which we find ourselves. What's some of the encouragement you would give for the journey ahead as it relates to innovation and spiritual entrepreneurship?
Yeah, my first encouragement, if somebody's watching this, or somebody's interested in taking the course, then you're already probably someone that's asking the right questions. And that right in and of itself may be the most important piece, is that the questions you're thinking about and you're asking right now are the questions that are going to innovate the future of Christianity in church communities, wherever you live. So that's, I think, the first encouragement. Secondly, for those that have kind of come through churches, or have been, burned out of the church or kicked out of the church, that's a hard place to be in. Like there's no getting around that, but there are places where you can go, and there's like a way forward in Christianity for for you and for people like you. For seminarians that, because I was in the same place a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm not going to get a job at a church. I'm like too honest for that. So I know exactly what that feels like. I think the Disciples of Christ, that's our church is a part of the Disciples of Christ, the United Church of Christ. There are denominations, there are groups of Christians that are good and safe places to innovate, iterate, ask these questions, and really put into practice what the future of Christianity and just a faith that's accepting and inclusive and full of grace, literally for all people. And then that's really what I'm passionate about. And if that's what, like, someone who's watching this video, if that's what you're passionate about, then just keep going. Just keep going.
As someone who's graduated, what's your feeling about the course? As now that you're done, you know what I mean? Is it finished? What's your thoughts on that? Mm-hmm.
No, the course is just the start. I think I said earlier that this is meant to be a spark to get you going, to get you thinking, to get you implementing things, to get you comfortable with failing. I think that's something that has taken me time to do. And I think the course does a good job of giving people permission to feel free to experiment. Especially if you're in a context that you have a good team around you, that you feel like will allow you to take some chances or to experiment, that is worth so much. So the tools and the spiritual engagement and the theology in the Hatchery course is supposed to get you going, supposed to get you thinking, get you excited to do something new, whether that's something new theologically within your community or something more on the entrepreneurial side. Maybe what you need to do is do something very practical that's going to benefit your local community. And maybe something in the Hatchery course sparks that idea. Oh, I know of a need and I didn't realize that there was actually a way to make this happen. So it's just kind of the beginning. And then whether you build a team around that from there, or you just start experimenting from what you kind of learn from the Hatchery course, it really just serves as a launching point.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing all that with us and jumping on with us this morning. It's just always such a pleasure and so much fun to talk with you. We love keeping an eye on what you're doing at Mission Hills. So keep up the work, and thank you again for sharing all this.
And I wish everybody out there the best, and I hope that you take this course, because it really is going to help all of us, because we're all doing the same thing together. So the more of us that are out there that are doing this kind of work, the better it's going to be, and the more that we can communicate and work together. So it's great.
Thank you so much. And on that note, we will end. And stay tuned. We have another conversation with another student starting right now.